Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the Heartland Hot Dish podcast. This is where we come to the table and rediscover the connection and meaning to our food and culinary treasures of the Great Lakes region. Join us as we discover the traditions and stories woven into the fabric of the Heartland cuisine, from the iconic dishes that define the Midwest to the hidden gems waiting to be discovered. We'll take you on a mouth-watering journey through the diverse culinary landscape of the Great Lakes area. Get ready to indulge your senses and ignite your appetite as we explore the rich tapestry of flavors that make up the Heartland Hot Dish. Well, hi, my lovelies. We're going to go into the Midwest pop culture. Not soda, but pop culture.
This is going to be so hard for me because having not grown up here and having a stepmother from the Midwest, I was always just floored every time she called soda pop.
I don't know what it was back home. It must have been soda in the UK. I've just heard pop so much now living here for like 15, 16 years in Michigan. It's like disappeared into it being pop and not soda anymore.
It's growing on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had to grow on me a little bit too, because even though I grew up in the Midwest, we visited relatives in Maryland. And there was still, when I was growing up in the 80s, a pharmacy out there with the original soda pop fountain preserved there. And so my cousins, of course, referred to
Soda
it as
jerk?
Soda with the soda jerk, yeah. Is the last of its kind in this really small town in Maryland. They refer to it as soda, whereas back home in Michigan it was always pop. And so I grew up between both.
I kind of love, anywhere I've gone, it's mostly been ice cream stores where you can still get, the soda jerk.
Yeah.
They put the syrup in and they mix it fresh in front of you. There's something fun about that. And, that should be much more of the way soda is versus the pop that we're going to talk about
Oh,
today.
that's interesting, right?
There was the ice cream place in Ipsy had it down the back of the alley. They had an old soda jerk station, and then there was some place down in Tennessee that had one as well.
What I really like and appreciate about those seltzer fountains is
Yeah,
how they had the two positions. They have the mist and the mix,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the whole jerking was the motion that you would do as you switch between
I
the
just
two
love that
modes.
really aggressive whisk as they're putting in the syrup and everything in there.
Right. Well, and this also speaks to my culture and the history of egg creams, but we're not talking about that today.
Not talking about egg cream.
Yeah.
Egg creams needs to be its own.
I'm not entirely sure what an egg cream is.
Oh my goodness.
You've
I
never
feel
had
like
an-
now I need to know a little
had
bit
them
about
at
an
the
egg.
Roadhouse. You didn't have an egg cream at the Roadhouse?
No.
What?
An egg cream has neither egg nor cream in it.
Is it like Welsh rabbit doesn't have any rabbit in it?
Exactly, right? So it's soda water, milk, and syrup.
I'm sorry, what?
Soda water
Yep.
or seltzer, right?
Milk
Milk and syrup.
and some flavored syrup of your choice.
Right. Depending on where it was from, typically it was chocolate. In New York City, it was Fox's You
Why
Bet
the-
would be the
Why the
high.
name?
That's a whole nother story.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right, but
Roadhouse, you had chocolate or vanilla. What were your choices?
Cool.
I can't.
I am
believe you never
completely
tried it.
lost
What
in
was
my
it?
world right now. I literally have nothing on this whatsoever. I feel like a little bit of a little baby in the room right
But
for
the
a second.
important part, especially if you're making a chocolate egg cream, and I'm sorry to digress a little bit over here, is that you want to have
us digressing in an episode, I feel like
you
that's-
want to have the foam layer on the top be pure white while the interior is still chocolate.
Is it
underneath.
just basically a melted float?
No, right? And the
It feels like a melted float to me here because I've got the milky creaminess, some sugar, and I've got some sparkly water gone in there for us. And that's it.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Complete
stuff.
different. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go back to pops and soda. So Midwest, for those not listening in the Midwest, it is pop and not soda over here. And I
Yeah.
looked up the reason why, and it's the pop of the glass versus the soda pull of a can. And that's why they were called pop.
Oh, so
It's all about the
glass
bottle. Yeah, it's the glass bottle and the pop of that top.
the pop top.
The pop top is why
Pop
they
top
call
is
it
you
pop
pop it
versus
off
you
the-
pop in the
pop it off
top
the
to get the
bottle.
pop top. But I kind of like that something that is now ubiquitous with being kind of an unhealthy thing and that we need to cut back on and have less on started out in pharmacies as being a health tonic, right? It's a bit weird, right?
Yeah.
It's because it had so much sugar in it and some opioids in there as well.
Yeah.
Kept you very happy. So it made you feel good while it wasn't necessarily doing you any good.
A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine
It
go
does.
down, as they say.
Yes, this
It
might have like
started-
10 in there, so it's going to be really good for you.
It started out with cocaine and caffeine.
Yeah, it did.
Coca-Cola, invented by Dr. John Stith Pemberton to help treat ailments of the gut, but
Yeah.
also to help perk you up.
And it does perk you up. I like me some soda, but
Yeah.
I've now in my mid 40s, I'm now much less of a soda drinker in my world, and it's now more of a if it's really good, then I'm going to go in, or there's something new on the market.
I feel like we all need to make a concerted effort on the course of this thing to take the word soda out of our vernacular.
Sure, it needs to be pop. I've gone back
move it
to it
pop.
now.
I know.
So here in the Midwest, it's much more of a foundation that rather than being the Coke, Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper world, we are the Vernors state. And it is our state drink unofficially, which I kind of like that they unofficially announced it and then made it that. But like that's back in the 1800s, like 1866, Vernors. And again, started out in a pharmacy thing. And still, to this day, it's a little bit like that medical thing back home of drinking Lucozade or Iron Brew to make you feel better, which is the Brit version of this. You would have some Vernors to settle your stomach or make you feel good.
Vernors came into my life much earlier than my connection to the Midwest. My grandmother of blessed memory went to Ohio State, the Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
I know. So she experienced Vernors,
I'm so sorry
and
for
every now and again you would see it in grocery stores, on the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah.
It was still something at that point that was very hard to find, but I discovered it independently. Told my nana about it, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know."
Well, like we have Vernors in our house, maybe not for the everyday drink, but we have Vernors in our house as a make you feel better drink.
Oh, for
Or
like
as a mixer.
No, like as in something if the kids aren't feeling well.
right, your
Yeah.
stomach, your
Well,
stomach is
ginger-
off.
Ginger ale. So that's what it was intended
Like if they've
for,
thrown up
right?
or been ill,
Sure.
there's some Vernors kicking
Along
in the
with-
house for that
along
reason
with
primarily.
Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, all of those back then. Dr. Pepper with its 23 natural ingredients that they used to help treat.
Yeah. Dr. Pepper is my drink, and I have to admit that wildly and deeply. But like, Vernors has a special place in like of enjoyment.
When
of
I
coming
was a
to it.
kid, it was Vernors or root beer. Those
Mm.
were the two I would waffle back and forth between.
I love the
my two favorites.
the spiciness of the Vernors,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I was a
Vernors-
Canadian club kind of soda
Yeah.
back in the day, and then you get Vernors, you're like, oh, it's like a much better version of this in my world.
Right, and it never occurred to me until I saw the giant mural of the gnomes rolling the barrels of Vernors out in Flint, Michigan. That the cans themselves are designed and look like barrels,
Heck
and,
yeah.
and that barrel aging
Technically,
was
They've-
was
they've
a
They've
big-
embraced that 110%.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for over 100 years, right? This
Yeah.
is amazing stuff.
So the other one that's the big Midwest is Faygo. And so my brother-in-law worked for marketing for Faygo, so we drank a lot
Oh,
of
what fun.
Faygo. He used to hand out free Faygo, which I don't know, that's not a difficult job in that world. But it does have one of the scarier of the sodas, being
Red
Red
Pop?
Pop. Oh
Red
my
Pop.
lordy. There is sweet, and if you know me at all, my sweet tooth is very sweet, and Red Pop is too much for me. That is some sweet soda in there. And like Red Pop has a very special place in a lot of people's hearts.
Red
as well.
Red Pop, and then peach was my other.
What? I don't
Yeah.
think I've had peach ever.
You haven't had the peach
No.
Faygo? Oh,
Uh-uh.
oh my goodness.
No. I've had like
So
the
good.
Dr. Pepper version of Faygo, which I don't know what it's called now. But like I've had that, and that's one. But Red Pop is the one that like used to be the thing that Henry really liked, my young kid.
So
I'm
my,
like,
my
you need to
favorite
not
thing
drink
to
this.
do as a kid, when my best friend and I would get treated to our own 2-liter. I would get the Red Pop, she would get the peach, but we would trade. And then and then we would take Twizzlers and bite the ends off so they were straws.
Oh dear God.
Wow. That is some genius level child. I'm sure there's lots of people who have done that. I've never done that.
Yeah.
I like the Faygo was
High as kites.
they were two
that
Russians, which
sugar.
is kind of fun for the side of it. Which any time of Russian cuisine is kind of fun, or the two Russian immigrants that started it as Faygo. I think it's fantastic. Like the Faygo flavors are really fun. It's very rooted. That I feel like has been a very Michigan Midwest thing, and it hasn't gone too far. Like I know Faygo's is technically everywhere, but it is very isolated. I feel here in like where it's actually popular.
Believe it or not, I found it at some of those like pop-up food stores in the streets of New York and Manhattan.
Is it because of the retro look of its pack? I bet it's got to be for the.
I think
so,
for the
yeah.
packaging or what it is.
Right,
Yeah.
and there are sodas or pop stores, right, that have popped up all over the place. I think about Rocket Fizz,
Yeah.
right,
yeah.
and Rocket Fizz, we have the one in Ann Arbor, and it feels like it's a very much of a local thing, but it turns out that it's a chain of pop places.
This is where all Midwesterners are happy. It's Rock and Rye is like the Dr.
Rock and-
Pepper
Rock
is
and
my,
Rye.
my
Oh.
substitute for Dr. Pepper because I do like me some Dr. Pepper.
Oh, so
Rock and Rye.
that's what Rock and Rye actually tastes like.
I know that's
I've seen the Rock and Rye, but
Oh,
I didn't
it's-
realize it
it's
was
a
the
little
Dr. Pepper. Right.
right. Rock and Rye is a little Dr. Peppery.
It's kind of
It's like a birch beer
like it's
kind of
like a
flavor.
birch beer. It's trying to be like more of one of those classic botanical with the 23 ingredients we talked about earlier. So birch beer or Dr. Pepper with the 10 million botanicals in it that you can't quite identify. That's rock and roll.
Have you guys ever had Moxie?
No.
Moxie is not.
I'm sorry,
Midwest.
that sounds like something completely different in my world. I was about to say, I can't answer that one online, but yes, what, sorry?
I want to say it's Vermont or New Hampshire based, but it's another one of these very classic old school.
My sister's out there. Maybe I can get her to send
right,
some.
but talking about something that tastes medicinal.
Well, so like I have fond memories of like Lucasade, and it isn't a pleasant drink. It's like iron brew. I think we've talked about iron brew for the UK. Like there's something reassuring about it because it was meant to make you feel better in that kind of moment of not being well. And even though it's not a good taste, it could make you feel better.
And it makes sense then that there is sugar in these beverages to compensate for some of those, bitter or spicy elements.
Botanical. Well, it was like with a lot of things that pharmacies did back in the day. At some point, they started targeting kids.
100%.
100%.
Well, I think it was genius to like make it a health tonic so that at some point later in your life you're addicted to it forever. And do you know what their slogan for Faygo was in the 1950s? It's genius.
Mm-mm.
It's good. That's all they had. Faygo, it's good. It's the most like Midwestern advertisement ever. It's like, and this is good, and you should drink this. This is it. I thought that was great. 1950s advertisement for Faygo. It's good.
Yeah, no, and we were saying before that your tolerance for these sweet drinks has diminished.
100%. Getting older and like trying to consume less processed sugar in my diet, but like we've talked about this before. I don't like saying it's a treat, but it's a rarity and oddity that I have it, but then I will enjoy it. And usually like now it's like split it with one of my kids. So like a bottle of Faygo will go between two people rather than just one in my world now.
Not just 1 liter to yourself.
Oh my God, I remember being a kid and just, twist straw, liter. God love you guys for using liters in pop, but not anywhere else. You metric system, it's like sneak in there for a minute and everything else is gone.
But when you're talking about splitting a bottle, you're not talking about splitting a liter. You're talking about splitting
No,
like
the
a
little tiny glass bottles.
like a
Yeah.
12-ounce, a 12-ounce bottle.
My oldest kid who used to get headaches from caffeine, or has had headaches from caffeine, which is odd because he drinks tea, but like he now gets non-caffeinated soda as a reason that he can still drink a lot of soda when he needs to. The other kid has no interest.
Yeah.
Like the 10-year-old doesn't want any sweet soda at all. Has no interest in all. I'm like, stay there, buddy. That's great. Older one's fully addicted.
I use pop as a parenting tool when my kids were small, and and it was largely in replacement of coffee. Right when they weren't super duper small, but the school had started to become a bigger deal, and they were working late on homework, and we're up in the morning and feeling a little sluggish, and I'm like, you should have a little caffeine, just a little bit.
And that's that evil of like, my wife would get migraines, and so she'll have that caffeine hit just to kind of reset the head so you don't get it. But then you're like back in the caffeine wave. You just need to ride that sucker out at some point. But yeah, we still drink it now.
So a lot of people I grew up with as kids around the Lansing area, it was considered a treat. So it was a choice. Like if you were given a dessert at the end of the day.
How big were the bottles when you were a kid?
The bottles?
Because I always remember mini cans when I was a kid.
There were
mini cans were
and
all
then
I
there
was
were
allowed
mini
as a child.
bottles, but this was like we often kept 2 liters at home, and then you were given like a glass of Coke on ice.
I know that might not be surprising to anyone else. That like having a liter of any soda in our house as a child was a non-existent thing. It was all the mini.
No, this was a thing because you would be given an option: do you want ice cream or do you want a glass of pop? And so it was like a treat because it was very much considered sugary, like a candy. Wow. So it was an option.
You couldn't just say yes and get a float.
But what's interesting about it is that I don't think a lot of parents like took into account like that addiction with the caffeine and the sugar, So what happened to a lot of the kids that I grew up with over time is they very much did become addicted to that caffeine. So I remember by the time we hit high school, by the time we were teenagers, they would have their own 2 liter of Mountain Dew that they were driving around with because they needed it to like cram for tests at school or just to get through the day because
I get so nervous when like Henry's had 3 cans in a week of soda. Like that concerns me.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're into 1 liter and 2 liter bottles just for a test.
just the caffeine alone, and then that high fructose corn syrup,
Sure.
it's just like it has such an addictive tendency, So this is why I try to stick to the glass bottles of Mexican Coke now. Like if I have a Coke, I want the cane sugar. I don't want the corn syrup.
I won't make you watch the video of like how that cane sugar's produced.
Yeah.
It'll make you sad. And you'll
Oh
want to go,
no!
oh my
Right.
goodness, yeah, cane sugar production is.
It's an industrial product, right?
You're right, and it's kind of a scary plant. Like it's got razor sharp, like, and it's a giant grass, and cutting it is highly dangerous. You wear gauntlets, and
Sure.
metal
Mhm.
to cover you. And the camps where, sorry, now I am going to tell you, the camps where they are, you are isolated. So they can have families that have been out there 2-3 generations, and I'm talking most like South America or some of the Caribbean islands, and like generations, 2 or 3 of them have been like in a camp village that they have never left.
Oh,
for
wow.
generations to produce the
Mhm.
cane sugar. And it was like there's the one in California, in Florida. It's got a really simple name, like Sugar Co. or something like that. And they produce like 50 or 60% of the cane sugar. And they did it on U.S. soil, but they still do it on the Caribbean islands and in the South as a way of keeping costs incredibly low. I mean, it's painfully low cost, and it's wildly dangerous and hard to harvest. Like, it's really tough going with the cane sugar. Sorry. Now burst the
Right.
world. Not that for high fructose corn syrup is better. It's just more of like the production of the two is very tough.
Well, I know it doesn't mess up my stomach.
There you go.
That's what I meant by better.
You're winning in
it
that
was
world.
Like corn syrup. It's funny how like this thing was invented to help treat
Sure.
gastrointestinal distress, and now it creates it.
Well, and now I think like back to when we had any kind of I'm wildly addicted to dandelion and burdock, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's those 2 plants with some syrup in it
Yeah.
and carbonated, but it tastes like birch beer a little bit.
Mhm.
But like that used to be just sweetened with honey, and it was a honey sweetened thing for a very long time.
Mhm.
And now it's just pure processed sugar. But like back in the day, it was a little bit healthier.
For me, my concern with the high fructose corn syrup is that it's such a great product. We should be able to buy it in grocery stores and use it for home cooking, but it's not right. It's
You
not.
can't get hold of it, correct.
Right. You can't. Right. You have to. Right.
You got to have licenses for dealing with it as well.
Right. Which is blows my mind. Right. Because it makes
It's something that's in everything.
Right. Because it's like, oh well, maybe if that's the case, perhaps
Right,
we
and
could
like-
do a little bit
And
better.
how it has its place in our diet and where it's used is just because of that cost variation of the two of what they were. And that-
Cost, but also some of it is also about stability and about sugar falling out of suspension. Because
sure,
sugar,
they can hold it more in suspension with high fructose versus cane sugar into what it is. You're
yes,
not wrong.
right, correct.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
That's a weird way of saying I'm right.
You are 100 Daniel was right, and you can record that and take. Maybe that's a poll that we keep a track of when Daniel's right and he hasn't upset me for the. I just think like the bit of like now when we go to like our gas station that's in Chelsea or what it is, and what sodas my kids pick up. My children stay in much more of the generic, and they don't get into the local high production, like the small productions ones. So like the deli it's Northwood, right?
Right, Northwood soda, and that's made with cane sugar, and that is the Michigan
It's
product.
delicious. Like,
Yes.
and not
Right.
like, yes,
The,
this
the-
is
the cane
England's-
sugar is not a Michigan product, but right,
It's, yeah, because we're all beets up here.
we are.
We're all
We're
beet
sugar
sugar.
beets, and that's for folks who are less concerned about genetically engineered foods.
There's some definite genetic engineered when we talk about Pioneer and our big sugar production up here. But like our kids, like not really. If it isn't Coke in my kids' world, then it's not an option. They've never really loved the Pepsi, and I should say my only child because the other one doesn't drink it. But like, it is trying to get them exposed to that because we've gone to the deli and had them, and it's like it's okay.
So I think one of the things that is fun about the Northwood soda, and we sort of briefly touched on this a little bit earlier in the show, is the root beer, right? And root beer is I think one of those great pops or flavors where the maker's hand really can shine because there's a lot of complexity, there's a lot of different variations, and there's a lot of ways that it can go.
Yep.
You're right. So some of the Northwood sodas are really insanely colorful and have interesting flavors. There's a blue one, which is not necessarily to my personal taste. I can't even remember what the blue one is, but it's blue. It's crazy, crazy blue. But there's a delightful one, which is
It's
a
a blue one.
a
See, I've
black-
had the black cherry. Love black
right.
cherry.
I love black cherry, and actually one of my favorites. And I don't
Or I do
have the sweet tooth
combinations.
that you have, but they make a black cherry cream.
Ooh.
Which is actually the both grandparents on both sides combined. So one grandparent I would go to their house and there would always be black cherry soda. The other one I would go there would always be cream soda. But and it was soda because it was Dr. Brown's, and they both had Dr. Brown's and their own different flavors of Dr. Brown's.
Now I'm like, how do you make a cream soda? Now you keep talking.
Right, vanilla. It's effectively a vanilla
Just
soda.
vanilla added. That's it. Nothing else.
It's a vanilla. It's a sweet. Right, and
Oh, that sounded so much more fun and exciting to me. And I'm not Googling. I put down my pen. He'll know
that's it. I'm sorry. Right,
just
I
add some
busted the
vanilla. It's
bubble.
just
Right.
vanilla. That was a good way to sell it.
But none of these sodas are, and I think this is, or none of the pops, and this is, I think, a really critical thing about understanding this form in general. The only, and I love what Marcy's folks did about making sure that the kids knew that pop is candy, right? That this is liquid candy. And it's a thing that if you have that context, and if you look at how much sugar is in it, it's a almost unfathomable amount of sugar. If you tried to drink something with that many teaspoons of sugar, it would be completely unpalatable. But the reason why we can drink this is because of its...
He's got the science look in his eye right now. I
It's
don't have
true.
any cameras recording today, but he really is excited. Here we go.
It's the acidity.
Ah.
I know.
Okay.
Right? And it's one of those things that people forget, that acid helps to cut and balance sweetness.
You can use soda to clean copper pots.
Right? But there's so much sugar in this that without that acidity, it would be unpalatable.
But isn't it interesting you could change how you could change that to lighten it to change? I mean, there's got like, because now, I mean, I do like my bubbles, so I'm that bubbly water kid all day long. Like I drink an ungodly amount of that. I'm sure my bones now look like foam. But I love like my bubbles, but I've gone away from the sweet and I'm totally okay with it. My kid, I make him brush his teeth right after he's drunk a can. If he drinks soda, he has to go brush his teeth straight away to not want the second can in that world.
Have you guys noticed that thing when you're at the dentist and they show you how much sugar is in soda? They show you how much, they show you how much is in like regular candy, then they show you how much is in soda.
Phonics Studios in Ann Arbor, I need you to do this for my children. Keep going.
And then it's an advertisement to try to tell you drink water instead, so it's pretty scary when you look at like the heaps of sugar that's in one glass of soda or one can of soda as opposed to... But that dentist is obviously trying to like scare you.
Like to me, like a soda once or twice a week, sure. And like most of it for me becomes more. I think it's become more caffeine than the sugar, albeit the sugar is not something I need anymore in my life. But like the caffeine and going straight to headaches in that world. I know I'm not a big coffee drinker. It's really just tea.
For me, drinking the pop in my daily life is really still about balancing its sweetness, that it's still too sweet for me. And down at Zingerman's Coffee Company, there's a drink that is made called the Pembertino. Marcy mentioned Dr. Pembertino and Coca-Cola, and what Steve was trying to do is trying to pay homage to Dr. Pembertino, and it blends Mexican Coke with, I believe it's a shot of espresso. And a little bit of vanilla syrup too. It's one of those things that sounds a little bit.
Is it like the red wine soda thing?
Named
Have you heard that?
Dr. Pemberton?
Named after Dr. Pemberton, exactly.
I'm going to a coffee company. I have not either. I'm now living in this ignorant world.
Because it's going to be a
Chelsea.
little bit more stimulating than just the regular Coca-Cola on its own, because it's got that shot of
Just
espresso.
bouncing
But
off the
that
walls.
right, but that bitterness helps to bring things into a little bit of balance, and that vanilla syrup then brings it back out of balance a little bit sweeter. But
Well, there's a whole thing now like red wine and soda. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that. What are we doing?
Marcy, no, literally half and half.
No, I'm rolling my
Oh.
eyes because I.
And you're like,
think
that's
it's always
gross, and
something
I've
that's
tried it, and it's not gross.
What flavor of pop?
Coke. Just
Okay.
Literally
Coke
Coke
and
and
red
red wine.
wine?
And is it Cabernet Sauvignon?
It's any red wine if you go onto TikTok in the world of TikTok. And I was like, this is gross. I'm going to try it. And then I was like, it's not good, but it's not gross.
I feel like this is a thing that's been happening in China for decades,
Really?
right? There was this whole thing along wine communities, who were very upset that as wealth was increasing in China, that even though red wine was not necessarily a thing over there, people were investing in first growth Bordeaux, but nobody had a taste for it, and were mixing it with soda.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're horrified that like these first growth Bordeaux's were being consumed in this kind of way, but but people will drink what they like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Another trend that's coming back, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say this because, of course, I'm doing it while I'm cycling, and I shouldn't tout this, but because every now and then as fuel, I do drink, and it's a Mexican Coke because I want the cane sugar.
I thought you were going to talk
I
about
don't
those
want the-
gels. Those gels are weird.
But so, do you guys recall? I don't know if like your parents or like your relatives talked about this back in the day, putting peanuts in the bottles of Coke.
Oh,
No.
You guys
I've heard it.
remember
This
that
is a.
story?
I think this is a southern thing.
It was actually my dad did it up here in Michigan too.
Huh.
So I think it was just something that was big back in the day, like around.
Just to be clear, peanuts never really were a giant thing in the UK.
What's
So
that?
I've mentioned before, like I have no affinity to peanut butter. Like I'm like whatever, it just makes things dry and kind of
No,
nasty.
but this is just regular old peanuts, and they would just like drop them down in the bottle, and then you would chug the soda, and then you would.
Do you eat
have,
the
like,
peanuts at the end?
What's that?
You shake out the peanuts
You
as
would
well?
shake out the peanuts at the end and eat them, and they would like have soaked up some of the.
That sounds terrible.
But they're so salty and good that they help kind of like balance out that sugar. So I've started.
So you've
doing
had
this
too
up
much
in my
sugar.
life.
Let's have too much salt.
And a little bit of fat. Right.
I mean,
Like that sweet and salty.
I guess it's helping if you're like sweating a lot, like on the bike trail, right? Like that makes sense. Good for you, Mars.
It's fuel.
Marcy's really skinny. Just so everyone who's listening knows, I'm like, Marcy, you sound wildly unhealthy right now. Good for you, because you must be biking a lot more miles than I am, because I'm unsuccessful and I'm not consuming peanuts soaked in soda. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
But it's a real thing. By the way, I did try the maple syrup a couple weeks ago too, and it worked wonders.
Oh.
To get me through my first race. actually tried
I
it.
now have had some of mine post like workouts of having maple
Yeah.
syrup as a thing,
Mm.
as a booster. I want honey, but our bees are not. One
But-
of our bees left. Our beehives left for the
But
days.
I digress. It did actually work really well. But yeah, this trend apparently is popping back up to put the peanuts in the glass bottle of Coke and then to slam it and it makes it fizzier.
I'm gonna tell Zuzu's in Chelsea.
I like maple syrup as the basis of a little spritzer.
That's an odd thing. I'm sure they've got it in Vermont or something. I haven't really heard of like a maple syrup soda because elderflower. I think I mentioned off mic, but there's a place in Chelsea, Michigan, so where I'm from, that makes elderflower soda.
Yeah.
And elderflower is
Mhm.
one of my all-time favorite things. But like, I have not heard of a maple syrup soda.
And did they start with an elderflower syrup?
Well, see, I want it to be better than it is, right? So like, I'm a big elderflower junkie, and I absolutely love elderflower, and it's made with like elderflower tea.
Yeah.
And so it's
Okay.
like a tea bag dried.
Oh,
And
that's
so it doesn't
interesting.
have such a punch.
Mhm.
We make elderflower syrup from the elderflower at the farm and we'll hold on to it. And then you can make syrup from it. In fact, I'll chip some off today.
Mhm.
We can have some on the way out the door. But elderflower syrup, delicious.
I love elderflower.
And the elderflower soda is not bad. It's just not that like punch of elderflower cordial kind of flavor. That
Yeah.
you
Right.
get.
And I feel like you can amplify that. You could do the elderflower tea and then have the elderflower syrup, and then you have layers of elderflower.
It makes sense. So sodas were
Why no
traditionally
maple, though?
made using pot and still, where you're extracting, and then eventually it just became easier to like create a syrup and use that as flavoring. So it's funny because when I talked about like being in Maryland and going to these soda fountains, these traditional soda fountains
Yeah.
at the pharmacies, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. I'm trying like a real cherry Coke, not the cherry
Sure.
Coke that you
My wife's
buy.
tried that before. Like,
A
oh, I'm gonna get
legitimate-
Or lemon Coke or whatever, and they're literally just adding like syrup.
Correct. There's nothing really any better about it, but it feels better, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can see the amount of syrup that hits the glass. You're like, oh, that's a lot. And like, oh, I guess it is always that way.
Right. But yeah, it's always just like high fructose syrup being added as flavor, and then your extra boost of sugar. And I was like, oh wow, I'm like, it's like I'm back in the 50s, and
The soda jerk thing, there was one in Chelsea way back when, and there's pictures of it, like historical pictures of where I'm from, and I just wish they were back. I would go in, then I'd be broken. I'd be like, sure, give me the soda jerk. I want that's what it is. Because ice cream wise, we have a little Twisters out there. We've got a Dexter Creamery in Dexter where we are now. If there was a soda jerk station connected to like a proper oldie worldy soda jerk, all day long. Because the ones I've been to in other places that have them, like the famous ice cream joint from X City or Y City, always has a really good soda jerk station on top of it at the same time.
My understanding is that the equipment manufacturer is
gone.
The bunk, right, and the people who can fix it and repair it,
Are
right,
gone.
are also gone. And then there's
we got a business we could come up with.
there's a level of training that is also required for the person to staff it to be able to use it correctly.
I can't remember where we were last, me and Joni, when we had it. But like, she had a cherry soda while we're waiting for ice cream, and we got one at the end, and it was like a $10 or $11 soda, and it was very good, but it was still soda.
Was it Instagrammable? Probably not.
I don't think so. But the soda jerk station is, and like those are beautiful. They come up occasionally out in the world. I just wish, like, American nostalgia for me that I look back in, like, this is what I want to see. I'd love to see them back in place. And like I said, that place in Ipsy, the ice cream joint in Ipsy, was a really cool like ad place in there.
Yeah, I remember in upstate New York, I would go around and I would find some old buildings and I would see them with their machines and and I talked to the owners, specifically about this, and they all had that whimsical look in their eye. They would love to see it put back into use, but they just
can't run the thing.
Yeah,
maybe that's a whole business all by itself. Somebody listening can take that up. Maybe Joel, who's our old butcher. I think he does lines for beer lines right now. Joel, I know you listen. Joel, I'd like you to start up. Yeah, you have a task to reset soda jerk stations. So we talked about Northwoods. Are there any others like local or small production soda guys that you guys use?
Sprechters?
Spreckers?
Well,
Spreckers?
Which is Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, and we've had,
Minnesota.
that's been at
Where are
the
they from?
Roadhouse fee. Is it still there? Because Orange Dream is delicious. I
The
know they sell it at the creamery bottle. And honestly, the root beer there, see, whose root beer do you really like, though? Because you talked about root beer, and so Sprecker's root beer is delicious.
Right, the Northwoods root beer is also delicious.
Do you like it?
Yes.
An A&W in town, and I get it's A&W in town, a friend.
You guys remember Hires?
Uh-uh.
No, so Hires, Charles Emmer Hires was the one to invent root beer, right? Like back in the day when
I'm looking like a
Coca-Cola
blank
came
face. I will need to tap on my keyboard in a minute to be correct here. Or
Hires was.
We'll all trust
I
you
don't know
without
if
looking.
That brand is still around, but I do remember drinking it as a kid. So you guys check out this list of what was in the first root beer. Are you ready? Here we go.
Hold on.
Okay, we got.
I'm writing the recipe. Have you got it in grams?
Sassafras.
I've got a great sassafras stick at home. Oh,
Sassafras.
I can make this. Yeah, piece of sassafras.
Okay, sassafras, allspice, birch bark, coriander, juniper, ginger, wintergreen, hops, burdock root, dandelion root.
Ooh, see, dandelion burdock. I'm winning.
I'm going to butcher some of these. Spikenard.
Okay, I'm lost.
Pipsawa.
Nope.
Guaycum chips.
Nothing.
Sarsaparilla.
Okay.
Spicewood.
Nope.
Wild cherry bark. Yellow
Sure,
dock.
that seems hard to get hold of.
Yellow dock. Prickly ash
Yellow
bark.
duck?
Yellow dock. DOC.
Okay, I
Yellow
thought you meant
duck.
duck. Okay.
Throw in one yellow duck quacking. Prickly ash bark. Vanilla beans, dog grass, molasses, and licorice.
Like, what was this, like a witch's brew? This is like,
Yes.
that's kind of a wild list of
It's a
things. I
wild
wonder what's in it now in comparison to that.
Right, it's root beer flavor.
It's root beer flavor.
Now it's like traditionally more
Well,
sassafras.
there was a reason I like root beer then, because it's got the dandelion and burdock base in it. Because that is the OG as far as like back home flavors for me.
The one that was really surprising to me, and I remember when I was a kid growing up, the gold standard for root beer was IBC.
Okay,
Right,
I've had IBC.
Right, IBC was the gold because that was the one that came in the glass bottles. It was brown.
Do you remember the one we had at the hot dog? We did a hot dog tour, which we need to record the.
Oh
episode
yeah,
on.
that was house made at Bill's.
At Bill's.
At
That was
Bill's.
pretty good.
That was
For a little, and who know, it's coming from
I'm
a syrup.
assuming it's the same
Sure,
sort
100%.
of thing, right?
But it was pretty good as like a little.
Do you think they're picking dandelion?
I
root?
do. I think that they're looking for some spiked something and some wild rosewood bark into something. I just like, wow, that's a list.
What do we got growing in the backwoods of Ipsy here?
Yeah.
Right, but I transitioned from IBC to Virgil's root beer.
I don't think I've had Virgil's.
Virgil's had I think on the label it mentioned some of the botanicals that were used in there, and they mentioned the mint, and for the first time, right? Because Marcy mentioned wintergreen.
Wintergreen.
Okay.
Yeah, effectively mint, right? And it blew my mind because having heard it and then trying to taste
Find it.
and identifying is like, oh, root beer is minty,
Yeah.
right? It was just like I get it. It didn't occur to me because it just felt like root beer.
We go through a lot of different root beers. I don't think anyone in our house has ever decided which one we love yet, because we've had so many different
They're all
ones.
different. and
100%.
find-
We have not like this is the Hales root beer, and like it's Joni and Henry who have it all the time in our house. Like I like root beer, but like one's okay to the next one for me. Those two like
Yeah.
continually try new ones. Sprecher's, while delicious, is not my favorite root beer out there.
Which one is it?
Sprecher's.
Sprecher's.
Sprecher's root beer. It's
This
intense.
is okay.
It's
yeah,
intense.
It is intense.
Because it's sweetened with honey,
I'd probably go
right?
like-
It's
yeah.
it's a honey, and the honey.
They do a
comes-
good job.
right,
It's not
but-
like
but
don't try
The
it.
honey comes through,
Yeah.
right? And it's got a little bit of
Like
smokiness
Northwood
to
is,
it as well.
is good.
Right.
Enjoy it. Can't get it in a can or a bottle, or at least I can't wherever I am. I don't know. Like we've gone and got lots of different root beers over the years.
So Chris's kids they don't drink soda. They weren't brought up with it, but we did have them try root beer for the first time a couple years ago, and the first thing Midge said was, "This tastes minty," and we were kind of staring at